Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I have looked at Optimism or the OP token, so I thought why not look at it again. Now the token has been struggling a lot. As you can see here, back in December it actually ended up hitting like 2.64 $2.7, and now it's barely below like $1. Now this setup is from my previous video. We'll talk about it at the end, so if you are only interested in the price section, you can just go to the end. That is where I will cover everything. Now before that, we do need to look at some of the recent updates that have been happening around the OP, you can just say Optimism. So first of all, we have Ronin, basically entering in the Optimism or the OP stake. So I would say that's really big, because Ronin is one of the biggest gaming chain out there, along with the Gala and some other things. So I would say that is good for like I would say that is like really good for the OP stake as well. So there is like Arbitrum had placed the first offer, a move that ultimately did not appear to land in its favor. And in case you missed Optimism's final bid, it offered like 5 million OP tokens, and they basically end up getting it. So I would say that's really good. And in other news, we have another massive news, which is like the Upbit unveils Ethereum layer 2. So again, Upbit is like one of the biggest exchange out there in terms of volume in the Korea. And if you know, if you have seen a lot of my videos, I do cover tokens that usually see massive surges, and those surges do happen because a new token gets launched. Basically, whenever a bit announces a new listing, the token does basically hits it does pumps like over 100% in just couple of hours. So now if you look at what this announcement does, basically now as the Coinbase has their base network, we have, unlike other exchanges, have their own layer 2s. Now we have another big exchanges getting into the exact same game, and we have Optimism at the heart again. So I would say that's really good for the Optimism as well. Now in terms of their DeFi, that is I think where the OP mainnet is basically struggling a lot. So this is the Optimism's DeFi TVL. As you can see, it's set 448, as you can see here, and it basically peaked back in, I would say, March, or even like back in August of 2022 when they had the airdrop. Again, it did see a massive surge back in March, but after that it has been struggling. So even if you look at uh, the peak back in December, that is when the token peaked, and if you look at the March, that is when the token peaked. So basically, if you look at the TVL, these are both of these points where the TVL also peaked. So I think the TVL of the OP does have a really, or it does really show where the token could actually peak. Now as of now, if you look at when the TVL peaked in this cycle, it would be on August 14th, as you can see here. So somewhere around here, and the price of the OP started to go down, and as of now the TVL has basically started to go up again. So the price has shown that exact, like you can say that exact same pattern. So if TVL goes up, the price will go up. It seems like that is what it is happening with the OP overall. Now in terms, if you look at their biggest competitor, the first one of course would be Base, but Base is using OP's stake, so I wouldn't call it the biggest competitor, because somehow it is basically helping Optimism's ecosystem grow. So I would say that's not bad. But again, we do have Arbitrum, which is again the biggest competitor to the Optimism. And if you look at their TVL, the Optimism just keeps winning in terms of TVL, although the market cap are basically, I would say, Arbitrum is higher, but again they have been most likely side by side, as you can see here. Of course there is a 1 billion difference, but again in the past they have been going on railing side by side. Anyways, if you look at their latest competition, which would be Linear, and the Linear does have a market cap of like below 500 million, so I don't call it the biggest competitor, but again it has been gaining a lot of TVL recently. But I think this TVL will most likely go down as they have already dropped their token, so I think this TVL most likely go down. Anyways, now in terms of OP stake, this is I was able to find this like dashboard on the June. As you can see, as of now we have the biggest one is the best, followed by WordChain and followed by Optimism. We also have a Unichain, so Unichain is also in the OP. The Unichain itself is also in the OP ecosystem, so I would say that's really good. And this is the Unichain, which is basically Uniswap's layer 2, as you can see here. Overall, I would say Optimism's ecosystem is doing really well. Now if we look at the price, this is things get really interesting. So this is a setup from a previous video, and as I said that it was following this trend line, and it did break this trend line, and as of now it is trying to break above this trend line. So if it doesn't reject here, so let's say that it goes up and it rejects, I think the token will most likely go as low as 62 cents. But if let's say that it doesn't do that, and if it like goes and if it breaks above from here, I think the possibility of it surging as high as 94 cent is there. So as of now I'm looking at both of these scenarios. So if like let's say that if it doesn't rejects on this trend line, basically as of now it seems like that it is trying to retest on this trend line, and if it like rejects from here on this exact level, which would be around 81 to like I would say 82 cent, and if it doesn't go down from here, I think it and if it does like breaks above from here, I think we could be looking at a really good breakout, and it can basically surge as high as like 95 or even like 93 cent. There's a possibility. And if like that breakout becomes if that breakout continues, we could be looking at a surge as high as 1.2 to 1.6. so I think this is possible. If it happens, so it can basically surge as high as 1.2. That is possible. But again, if it does reject from here, we could be looking at retest like as low as 65 cent, or even as low as 61 cent, or even as low as I would say 57 cent is a possibility. Now I'm looking at this like breakout as well. So this breakout is like, if it does happen, it is going to be, I would say, a really big one, because the token has been in the downtrend, I would say, for some time now. So if it can break above from here, I think we could be looking at a really good breakout. So if it can break above from this like red line, I think it can surge as high as 1.2 to 1.16. That I think will most likely happen if it does breaks above from here. Now overall, I think it's looking really good for the Optimism, and if the market does remain the way it is, I think Optimism is going for 1.2 to 1.16 level, and hopefully if it doesn't like rejects from here, we could be looking at a really good move from here as well. So let's see what happens. Overall, I am a little bit optimistic in the Optimism as of now, but they do have token unlocks coming up on a monthly basis, and basically the reason why the token has been struggling is because of these monthly token unlocks. And as of now, investors as well as core contributors are getting tokens on a monthly basis, and they will continue to do so till 2026 June. So that is a sell pressure that it has, so it could be the cause of the rejection here as well. So let's see what happens, but overall it does have this problem. Anyways, I think overall it's looking really good, and if everything goes the way it is doing as of now, we should go as high as 1.2 to 1.16. Anyways, this was it. I hope you liked the video. I will be back. No, thanks for watching.